Hello and welcome back to Old Frames Gaming. I'm your host BK, and today I'm going to be bringing you a video featuring round 1 of our August 2025 meetup at Dragon's Den, where we played Atlantic Old School. This matchup is going to feature John on his blue-green Berserk Burn versus Chris playing Mono Black Midrange. Let's jump into the deck list. And here we have John's deck that he played on the night. He was on blue-green Berserk Burn. Which, as the name suggests, plays some quick, efficient beaters alongside some burn to help finish off the opponents. And a couple of ways to protect those creatures and reload his hand, and with a little bit of board control. So he's playing some creatures that take advantage of the old school metagame, particularly people who like to play a lot of artifacts. So John's playing Sentinel Druid and Scavenger Folk, which I'm certain is going to be able to help him in game ones a lot of the time. He's got Berserk in order to finish off his opponents, and Unstable Mutation to kind of help pump them up in the meantime. He's playing the Veneral's Disc in case things just get way out of hand. And then he's got some Power 9 in here. His sideboard, as you can see there to the left, includes some ways to give his creatures haste in Concordant Crossroads. And he's playing a couple of Blue Elemental Blast to help sort out things against those red decks. He's got a Mana Drain and a few other things that's a little bit difficult for me to see there. Perhaps you might be able to make them out and leave a note in the comments and let us know what they are. He's got some card draw and Brain Geyser and Library of Alexandria, and it looks like he's playing quite a bit of jewelry. That said, let's go on to Chris's deck and see what he was playing on the night. And here we have Chris's Mono Black Midrange deck that he played on the night. This is an older deck picture. However, I don't believe that he made major changes to this list prior to this meetup. So the overall spirit of what he's playing on camera will not be deviated very much from what you see before you right now. So Chris's deck plays some controlling elements in things such as Sinkhole and Strip Mine and Paralyze and Terror. And he's also playing some disruptive elements in Mind Twist and Hymn to Turok. He's got some efficient beaters through Su Chi and Juzum Jin. And then he's got what could be classified as a finisher in Underworld Dreams. He's also playing a couple of efficient creatures. He has some Hypnotic Specters, which also helps supplement that disruptive nature of the deck, alongside Black Knight, which has protection from white, to fend off probably one of the most played cards in this format, Swords to Plowshares. He's got a full boat of Mistress Factories in his land base to work alongside these other creatures, and a Singleton Drain Life in the main deck, supplemented by one in the sideboard as an alternative finisher if need be. Alright, so those are the deck lists. Let's jump into the gameplay. Alright, and as we jump into game 1, John is going to be on the left-hand side of your screen here, and Chris is going to be on the right. Chris is going to open up on Swamp and pass the turn over to John. Neither one of these players took a mulligan in this first game. So John manages to find a Tropical Island and a Mox Ruby, which is going to get him a Sentinel Druid. So that one's going to grow every time Chris plays an artifact, which is pretty cool. I've not ever played against that particular card in this format, but it seems like a pretty good inclusion. So Chris takes his draw for the turn and finds a second Swamp. Doesn't look like he's got much going on just yet, so he passes back over to John. Alright, we found an island and a Mox Pearl. So John on that fast mana. Let's see what he's going to do here. Alright, he's found a Serendipity Freet and an Unstable Mutation. So he's going to crack on in for, I believe, 4. Alright, so that Druid's going to shrink every turn going forward, but he'll get a lot of damage production out of that thing in the meantime. So John passes the turn back to Chris, who finds another Swamp. And he's going to play an Underworld Dreams. Sorry about the glare on that, but that is an Underworld Dream. So every time John draws a card, he's going to take a damage now. Plus, he's also going to take a damage off of the Ifrit every upkeep. So John goes to 18 to open up his turn. Puts his counter on the Sentinel Druid there, so that's a 3/3 now. So we're going to come across into the red zone for 6, it looks like. Oh, we're going to double the Druid. So that one's going to be 6 by itself, so now 9. So Chris should be going to 7 already. Tough break. Alright, so John finishes up his turn and passes it back over to Chris. So Chris takes a look at a fresh card off the top, and he's trying to make some quick decisions on what to do here because he is under some serious pressure. That Drain Life's not going to do him a terrible lot of good. He does find another Underworld Dream, so now John's going to take 2 points of damage per turn, plus the 1 off of the Ifrit, so he's going to go to 15 at the end of this. There we go. Got the life totals right. He finds a forest. Thinking over what to do here. Alright, so we're going to regrowth Unstable Mutation. And we're going to play it. So that Ifrit is going to come across for 6 damage, sending Chris to 1 life. He better find something to do, and quick. He does have a Chaos Orb and the mana to activate. So let's see if he can get this orb flip to work. Alright, moment of truth, everybody. Oh, and a miss. Oh no, Chris is doomed. Alright, so on that miss, Chris decides to pack in game 1 and move on to game 2. So with the concession, we'll give these players a couple of minutes to sideboard and get ready for game 2. We'll see you in the second one, everybody. Alright, and we're joining these players for game 2 now. They have shuffled up and sideboarded and drawn their initial 7. Chris is going to be on the play, given that he conceded game 1. Both players taking a look at their opening 7. And it looks like everybody's going to keep. So Chris is going to open up on Swamp and a Mox Jet. And him to Torak. That's a pretty good way to start off. So we're going to get 2 cards at random out of John's hand. So we found a Berserk and a Mistress Factory. That's a pretty good score for Chris. So he's going to pass the turn over to John, who's going to start on 5 cards, plus 1, 6. And let's see what we're going to do. Looks like he just plays a Tropical Island and passes the turn. So Chris finds another Swamp, so we're up to 3 mana now. Maybe he's found another one of those Underworld Dreams. Nope, but we did find a Sinkhole, so that's gonna hurt. So John now down to no lands. So he quickly draws and passes back to Chris. Chris finds a Black Knight. So we've got a little bit of pressure now. He passes the turn to John. John manages to find an island. But it doesn't look like he's found anything else to go alongside it just yet. Looks like there's some discussion going on amongst the players about the board state right now. John passes the turn. Resetting life totals. So Chris is going to crack across in the red zone for 2. That Black Knight, sending John to 18. And he's going to pass the turn. John taking inventory of his hand, seeing if there's anything that he can do to answer this Black Knight currently. I don't think that there is at the moment. These two cutting up and having a good time. John passes the turn back to Chris. So he takes a draw. Looks like he's found an Underworld Dreams to accompany that Black Knight. He comes across into the red zone for 2, sending John to 16. Upon drawing the card, he's going to go to 15. Looks like he may have found an Ancestral Recall, but that's going to lightning bolt himself as well. But we may need the cards. Got to do something to answer this Black Knight and that Underworld Dreams. So John adjusts for the Underworld Dreams on his draw step, and now he should go to 12 for the Ancestral Recall. Does manage to find a Mock Sapphire, which is going to help out quite a bit. Counting our cards in hand now to see that we're discarding the hand size. Looks like he may have to. I think he's got 8 cards in hand there. One of which appears to be a Time Walk. So we're going to discard a Serendip Efreet and a Sentinel Druid. With that, the turn's going to go back over to Chris. He finds a Mishra's Factory and comes across with that Black Knight. So John's going to go to 10. Chris passes the turn. So now he's going to go down to 9. He's going to have to find an answer somewhere. All right, how about let's take another turn. So now we're going to go to 8. We found a Scavenger Folk, but no green mana, no green sources yet. It's looking pretty grim. Next turn, Chris is going to be able to come across for at least 4, if not more, depending on his draws. Alright, so now Chris is going to take his turn. He's found another Underworld Dreams. So now he's going to activate the factory, come across for 4 into the red zone, sending John to 4. And he's going to pass the turn. John's going to draw a card and go to 2. And he's just going to show Chris what all is going on here. It looks like John is going to be conceding game 2. He was under way more pressure than he could answer at the time. We're going to give these players a minute to shuffle up, sideboard, and we will meet them in game 3. All right, and here we are in game 3. John's going to open up since he conceded game 2. And he finds Forest, Mox Pearl, Sentinel Druid, and passes the turn to Chris, who finds a Swamp into a Dark Ritual, into an Underworld Dreams to open up game 3. So John's going to take 1 point of damage for this draw step. He is under a 20-turn clock. But to be fair, so is Chris at this point. Alright, so John has found Mox Ruby. It looks like he's got a Soul Ring in his hand as well. So here comes that soul ring. Sentinel Druid's going to crack across into the red zone for 1. Sending Chris to 19. John's going to pass the turn. Chris is going to untap. He finds a swamp. And here comes Sinkhole for the forest. And he passes the turn back over to John. So John's going to untap here. No green or blue sources just yet. He's going to take 1 damage off of the Underworld Dreams. And he's going to come across to Chris for 1. We're all tied up at 18. Chris looks like he's found another sinkhole, which of course is no good at this point. But here we have Dark Ritual, so we have 4 mana into a Juzum Djinn. And Chris says go. Can you find something for that? John draws. Looks like he may have forgotten to take his oh, there he goes. He's going to correct for the damage off of Underworld Dreams. Chris takes his Juzum Djinn damage down to 17 and comes in the red zone. John decides he's going to give up Sentinel Druid right now. A little discussion still going on between these players. Probably telling old war stories about the good old days of Magic. Before we got a set every 3 days. Alright, so John opts to pass the turn back over to Chris. He takes 1 point of damage off with Juzum Djinn. Finds another swamp. 3 mana for a second Underworld Dreams. And comes into the red zone with Juzum Djinn for 5 damage. So John going to take 5 off of this Djinn. Then he's going to take 2 off of his draw step. Chris passes the turn. John counting cards here. He passes the turn back. I believe he should be at 10 though. And looks like we're going to adjust life totals now. Oh, he only took 1. Chris finds his 4th swamp of the game and plays a Hypnotic Spectre, increasing that clock just a little more. So now John's going to be facing lethal this next turn if he has no answers. So he should take 2 off of the draw step. So he should be at 4. Looks like he's got a few options here, but I don't know if any of them are good enough. He's kind of studying what's going on here. He's looking awfully hard at that recall. But I don't think he's got anything in the yard that's really going to help at this point. Chris just too fast out of the gates for him. And we don't have any green mana for that regrowth either. Maybe he's thinking about just grabbing the Druid just for a blocker, but I don't know how he's going to play it. I guess he could discard 2 cards. Alright, here's a recall. What are we going to discard? 1 Sentinel Druid. It's going to get the forest back. Alright, so Chris takes his damage off the Juzum Djinn. And he's going to sinkhole that island there. He's going to get that out of there and come across for 7. And that'll do it, everybody. So Chris takes the match 2-1. Awesome gameplay from these two. Lots of interesting interactions and cards that we're not accustomed to seeing down at Dragon's Den. So kudos to John for coming and playing with us on the night. I'd like to thank everybody for tuning in for another episode from our channel. If you enjoy this type of content, I would ask if you would like and subscribe. If you enjoy old school content in particular, please be sure to stop by the Orb. That is run by our friend Joe. He does a terrific job with his old school coverage, multiple types of formats, whether it's Atlantic or Eternal Central, X Points. All that is really great. He does a fantastic job, and it's a lot of fun. Thanks again, everybody. Stay tuned for another episode in the near future. We'll get round 2 and round 3 out from this particular meetup as quick as possible. Until next time, everybody stay safe. Thanks again.